Are you afraid to speak up in meetings because you don't want to sound rude? Do you worry that disagreeing with your boss or your colleagues will damage your professional image? In this episode, we are going to teach you the softener method, 3 specific phrases to disagree politely and professionally every single time. First, we'll listen to a dialogue where a disagreement goes totally wrong. Ouch. Then we fix it. We'll cover the partial agreement technique, how to use I'm afraid, and finally, a role play you can practice with us. Let's turn that awkward silence into a confident contribution. Imagine this scenario. You are in a team meeting discussing the launch timeline for a new project, Project Phoenix. You know the proposed date is impossible, but you feel nervous about saying anything. Let's listen to what happens when you jump in too quickly. So, for Project Phoenix, we're aiming for a March 1st launch. Any thoughts?
March 1st? No, that won't work. It's impossible. We can't do it.
Impossible? Why are you saying that?
Because we haven't finished the testing phase. March 1st is just wrong.
Wow, did you feel the tension there? That kind of disagreement is incredibly blunt in English. It sounds aggressive, uncooperative, and instantly puts the other person on the defensive. When you use direct words like no and wrong, you are shutting down the discussion instead of opening it up. The speaker who proposed the date now feels personally attacked, not professionally challenged. Our goal in professional English is never to sound definitive and final, but always to sound collaborative. We want to challenge the idea, not the person. And that's where the softener method comes in. It's based on a psychological principle called the disagreement sandwich. You never just deliver the harsh middle. You soften the blow by surrounding it with kindness and alternatives. Our 3 steps are: 1. Validate their point. 2. Insert the soft disagreement. And 3. Propose a solution. If you skip step 1, you sound like the first speaker. If you skip step 3, you sound negative. If you want to master high-level professional English, make sure you hit all 3 steps. And while you're mastering these skills, remember to hit the subscribe button for the Pocket English podcast so you never miss these friendly, actionable lessons. Let's focus on step 1, validation. Before you say anything critical, you must acknowledge what the other person said. This is pure diplomacy. It shows you listened and it lowers their emotional defenses. You don't have to agree with the whole idea, just a small part of it. We call this partial agreement. Instead of saying, "No, you're wrong," you start with a bridge phrase. Try these. "I see your point about the timeline." Or, "That's a very valid perspective on the budget." The magic words here are valid and perspective. They are professional, mature, and immediately signal respect. A slightly more formal phrase you can use is, "I understand the intention behind that proposal." Use that phrase when you need to sound very diplomatic, especially with a senior manager. This validation prepares the ground for the actual disagreement, making it much easier for the idea to be accepted. Practice saying those bridge phrases out loud right now. That's a valid perspective. Now we move to step 2, the core technique, the soft disagreement. This is where we actually push back, but we must use qualifiers to avoid sounding absolute. We want to introduce doubt rather than certainty. The 3 most powerful qualifiers here are "I'm afraid," "with respect," and "from my perspective." Let's look at "I'm afraid." This doesn't mean you are scared. It's a standard softening phrase in professional English. It translates roughly to, "I regret to inform you that." So, if we go back to our March 1st deadline, we don't say, "It's wrong." We say, "I'm afraid I have to disagree on the feasibility of that date." Do you hear the difference? The key is the structure. "I'm afraid," plus "I have to," plus soft verb. Disagree, push back, challenge. Another powerful tool for disagreement is introducing distance using perspective. Instead of making the disagreement about the fact, March 1st is wrong, you make it about your view. I hold a different view. Try starting with, "From my perspective, March 1st might be ambitious." Or, if you need to be firmer but still polite, use "however" or "nonetheless" directly after your validation. For example, I agree that we need to hit the market quickly. However, I believe the March 1st timeline introduces significant risk. The word risk is professional and logical, not emotional. This prevents the conversation from becoming a conflict and keeps it focused on the business objective. Let's move on to step 3. Propose a solution. Disagreement without a proposal is just complaint. A professional always turns a problem into a proposition. This is critical for showing leadership and finishing the softener method strong. You must immediately pivot from the negative, the disagreement, to the positive, the solution. We use phrases that invite discussion, not mandate change. Avoid saying, "the solution is X." Instead, try, "What if we considered aiming for March 20th?" Or, "My proposal would be to allocate an extra week for testing." The key phrases here are, "what if we considered," and "my proposal would be." They are open, inviting, and collaborative. Let's put it all together now. Remember the disastrous initial attempt? Let's fix that dialogue. Listen carefully to how the speaker applies the softener method.
So, for Project Phoenix, we're aiming for a March 1st launch. Any thoughts?
That's a very valid perspective on getting the project to market quickly. That speed is important.
Thank you.
I'm afraid, however, I have to push back slightly on the feasibility of that specific date. Our testing phase is currently scheduled to finish on March 10th. My proposal would be to set a hard internal target of March 20th to account for necessary quality checks. What if we considered that alternative?
March 20th gives us a buffer. That makes sense. Let's consider that.
That sounds like a completely different conversation, doesn't it? The difference is confidence wrapped in courtesy. The first speaker sounded stressed and hostile. The second speaker sounded informed and collaborative. If you practice this structure, you will command respect in any professional setting. Remember, validate, soften the blow, and propose the fix. Now, let's practice this together. I'm going to give you a scenario and the phrase you need to use. I will pause, and you say the full professional response out loud. Ready? Scenario. Your team leader is proposing a new marketing campaign targeting teenagers, but your data shows that your primary customers are actually young adults in their 30s. You need to disagree with the target audience. Start with the phrase, "I see your point about," and then insert your soft disagreement using the phrase, "I'm afraid."
Pause for listener response. Did you say something like, "I see your point about needing a fresh approach for the campaign. However, I'm afraid I have to push back slightly on the target age group, as our primary data suggests a stronger focus on the 30-35 demographic." Fantastic! That's a powerful disagreement delivered perfectly politely. Let's try one more. Scenario. A colleague suggests an extremely cheap vendor for a critical component, but you know this vendor has a reputation for poor quality, which will cause issues later. You need to propose using a more expensive, reliable vendor. Start with a validation of their cost-saving idea, and then propose the alternative. Use the phrase, "what if we considered?" Pause for listener response. A strong response would be, "I agree that finding cost efficiencies is vital for this project. With respect, I do have some concerns regarding the reliability of vendor X. What if we considered vendor Y? They are slightly more expensive, but provide a 5-year guarantee, which mitigates long-term risk." Perfect. You now have the 3 core tools, validation, soft disagreement, and proposal, to navigate any difficult discussion in professional English. Stop avoiding speaking up. You have the exact language you need to contribute confidently and respectfully. These soft phrases are your superpower. Make sure you practice these techniques whenever you have a few minutes to spare. If you found these techniques helpful, please like this video. Hitting the like button tells us that you want more specific, real-world professional English lessons just like this one. Subscribe to the Pocket English podcast now and turn on notifications so you never miss a chance to make English your easy daily win. Keep practicing, and we'll see you in the next episode.